to you by Eagle Claw. When you buy Eagle Claw, you get quality. By steel. When you depend on tools, depend on steel. Mercury Outboards. Run Merc. Run proud. Winnebago. The original and still the best. By DuPont Strand. Makers of DuPont Power Lines. By Ranger Bolts. We still build them one at a time. And by Humminbird. Absolutely brilliant technology.
Think about it. The fish hook is the only piece of equipment you have that comes in direct contact with the fish. So when that special moment comes...
Beautiful fish down there. All right.
How about this? It scares me, that line up against the ice, but you say that doesn't hurt anything.
You gotta let him go when he wants to.
I will. Well, he is running now.
Oh.
New meaning to playing them on your reel, huh?
Yeah, run that. Yeah, you're doing good. It's beautiful.
You kind of feel the ice working it over, though. This is awful little rig to be wrestling around with a. Hey, how big is this fish anyway?
That's a dandy. Oh yeah, you got it.
Hey, well, what are we gonna do when he gets up the hole?
I'll get him out.
Okay.
I'll stick my. Oh, you got a beauty. A brown.
All right.
A beautiful brown.
Get him out of there!
Oh, look at that, Jerry.
Brown trout.
Oh, yeah.
That is great. He's got so much snow in his jaw there, I can't see that pretty little jig, Mark. I'm probably going to want to break this jig off and start over again.
Yeah. He really hammered it.
Oh, man. He did, didn't he? Golly, look at there.
Half in, half out. At least you can release them that way.
Sure. Look at there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't that neat?
Congratulations.
Oh, shoot, I'm an ice fishing son of a gun.
You are. You are. There you go.
An ice fishing son of a gun? Well, I don't really know about that. I do know that the fishing hole invites you to come along today for an ice fishing trip to 11 Mile Reservoir near Colorado Springs, Colorado in the Winter Rockies. I'm Jerry McInnes, along with ice fishing experts. I mean experts, underline that word. Mark Armstrong and Chip Heen, both from Denver, who can probably educate some fishermen to this unusual way to spend some time during the winter and probably entertain those of you who already know about it. Mark's going to start us off by cutting a hole through about 25 inches of 11-mile ice. Matter of fact, he's already cut one hole and started another just a few feet away. He'll fish 2 rods using ice jigs tipped with worms and larvae. Now let me point out that the ice is thick and safe. We're told that 4 inches will normally be safe, but I'm telling you I wouldn't start unless it's 7 inches. This is 25 inches again. The trip took place just a few weeks ago, and this lake should be ice fishable probably all the way up into April anyway. Mark's serious about this now, as you can probably tell, right down to the homemade sled that houses everything you'd ever want for an ice fishing trip, even a big warm dog, Sam. No offense to Mark and Chip, but Sam was probably my favorite part of the trip. Now I'm going to talk to you more about the rod and reel a little later. It's really important, but briefly, let me point out that these are obviously small, custom made by Mark. They're closed face reels. They handle light line and large fish. Believe me, these two guys expect to catch some big trout, big browns and rainbows, and along with a few salmon and small cutthroat trout.
Yeah, nice fish.
He can't run. I got him cornered that little 12-inch hole. He can't run.
That's a pretty little rainbow. That's a pretty rainbow, Jerry. Look at that jig.
How about that? Let him run. Yeah, he ran right up in that little circle there. Woo, he's cold. Yeah, he's 14 inches long, wasn't he?
We're using 12-inch holes, and for the best results, you ought to stay right by your rods and actually jig one at all times. We're fishing in a couple of different depths. When we're fishing deep, it's probably 30 feet deep, and we'll drop our jigs down in 10, 15 foot of water, way up off the bottom. When we fish shallow, it's only 10 or 12 foot of water, and then we fish the jigs just off the bottom. Now, my initial reaction was this water is too cold. These fish are bound to be dormant. Not so. They seem to be moving all over that lake. They're feeding on plankton and extremely wild when you do hook one. And I've got a couple of holes of my own, sure I do, but I am the worst example of a ice fisherman. I'm very impatient. I want to see what everyone else is doing. You shouldn't be doing that. I want to make sure that Sam's being treated well too. Hey, the temp is right down near zero. We're probably getting maybe 10 inches of snow during this day, and you can bet that old McKenna's is going to be on the move. Now, Mark Armstrong makes ice jigs for a livelihood. Chip Hain, who, by the way, is going to really put on a show for us just a little bit later. Old Chip modifies and races cars during the summer. What a combination, huh? An ice fisherman, race car driver. Well, I've never seen him race a car, obviously. But I tell you what, I guarantee you old Chip can catch those trout through the ice.
We switched your deal around there, that changed your luck.
Good luck, Sean.
Yeah? What kind of trout was it? Did you see that?
I think it's, ooh, yeah. I think it's a rainbow.
You don't think it's a sucker, do you?
No.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the hand warmer out of my sleeve where I won't drop it in the hole, and I'll actually help you. Mark has been so good.
I prefer landing with
Yeah, okay, great.
Can. I'm used to this. And
Okay? And I'll jump on him after you get him up here on the ice.
it's a nice fish. Give you the 11-mile smile.
What if he's head? Oh yeah, there he is.
There he is, yeah.
What if you can see his head in this hole and he's tailing that hole over there?
Well, that'd be okay.
That'd be bad, wouldn't it? Sam's even going to help out on this one. Oh yeah, look at there. That's it. Whoa, look at there.
2.5 to 3
Huh?
pounds.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Pretty fish.
Yes, sir. Get that little. Get that jig out of his.
Sure.
You did good, man.
That's a beauty.
You really did good. And there's the lake's full of them that size.
Oh, yeah. Quite a few that size.
Now, I won't confuse him if I put him in a different hole. than he's around.
Let him go. Let's let him grow up. Good scrapping fish.
Away he went. Ain't that something?
Well, that was something. In the segment that Sam and I have coming up for you in a minute here is something as well. Boy, I hope Norman isn't watching this. Well, water's hard at this time of the year, but we're enjoying a trip to 11 Mile Reservoir between Fairplay, Colorado and Colorado Springs. Highway 24 from Colorado Springs will get you into the area in about an hour, and although Spinny Mountain and 11 Mile are right next to each other, 11 Mile is the only one of them that you can legally ice fish on. Remember that. Now, folks, you've been here with me before. Remember, just one summer ago, Joe Butler and I cutthroat trout fishing. Matter of fact, let's have some fun. Let's go back and forth and look at some then and now scenes. I can remember it well because then I was expecting a new grandson, and now Michael Joseph is approximately a year old.
Me and Michael Joseph on the road of Colorado, a place I couldn't wait to be. I called to the mountains like a dream to do so long. Softly they echoed back to me. Deep inside my mind, Hope that one day he'll see these same mountains. He'll come home to tell me he heard echoes of the mountain singing back to me, whispering in voices like my father sang to me. He heard echoes of the mountain, it reminded me of me. On that road up Colorado, Michael Joseph will see. Me and Michael Joseph have a whole life ahead now. A long winding road it will be. And when we reach these mountains for the first time together, we'll be singing in harmony. We'll hear echoes of the mountain singing back to me, whispering in voices that sound so familiarly. Echoes of the mountain reminding me of me. The first road up Colorado, Michael Joseph will sing. Echoes of the mountain, echoes of the mountain, mountain, singing back to me. Echoes of the mountain, mountain, singing on me. Echoes of the mountains, singing back to me, whispering in voices that sound so familiarly. Echoes of the mountain, reminding me of me. The first road up Colorado, Michael Joseph will see. Me and Michael Joseph on the road up Colorado.
Well, I told you we had lots of snow yesterday, and more on the way a little bit later, but right now it's perfect. And yeah, I could catch Sam if I really wanted to, but there's a lot of work to be done, sleds to be pulled, and holes to be drilled. And right now, Mark Armstrong, who manufactures Ice Fire ice jigs, is going to tell us a little bit more about his super system. And if the water comes over my boot tops one more time.
Hey, Mark, this is all right. It only took you 20 years to perfect all this, didn't it?
Taking a while, a lot of hard work.
Doggone, there's a lot to this ice fishing. A lot more than a guy might think, you know, and you really have got some neat little things going on. You're very concerned with your rod and reel, right?
Very much so.
And so you have modified a little spinning reel, close face spinning reel. You don't want an open face spinning reel because the elements,
They get in there and they freeze your wheel wet line on
Yeah.
the reel, and then you get a cold day and it locks up in there.
uh-huh.
And the snow blows up in the inner spool and causes some problems.
So you've perfected this little reel here that allows you to fight a fish and kind of just touch the spool on the side, right?
Yeah, it's just a little wheel I had a machinist make for me, and it controls the back reeling motion.
Right. You're kind of like me. You don't want to trust the drag,
I
and
don't want to trust the drag. In cold weather, it's really hard to set a drag right in.
and you don't want the line to twist.
That's right.
Well, you know what's really neat is this right here. And this is pin wire, right?
20,000 gauge piano wire. A couple little red beads like you'd see
Where
on
you
the
can
end of a shotgun in the morning. They just glow like a light bulb.
Now all the fish has to do is just touch that line down there.
And that's about all you'll see,
Yeah,
too, Jerry.
and you get this little bump here. If your rod, if you're laying in it at your tip, you probably wouldn't see that strike, would you?
No, you wouldn't, and the fish would feel it, too.
Mm-hmm.
You just see a little bump, and that's about all you get out of it.
And these jigs, doggone, those are beautiful, man. Those are so pretty. I don't know if I'd want to throw one down there and lose one.
Thank you.
What's your favorite color?
Well, chartreuse is a real dominant color here in the lake. And then I usually fall into a fire orange, and then the black patterns are good where there's snails.
Mm-hmm.
Shallow water, weedy areas.
Mm-hmm.
We pick them up, a lot of nice fish.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that's great. And you know, then one more thing I'd like to point out is the fact that you fish 2 holes right next to each other.
Yeah.
This is the limit of holes you can have out here.
Well, you can have as many holes as you want. They can't be any bigger than 12 inches, but you can't have any more than
2 rods.
holes.
Okay. So as opposed to taking this rod and putting it out there 30 feet away, you've got them right next to each other. And if somebody hits this guy and bounces him back up, as opposed to jumping for that one, you start working the other one.
That's right, because they usually will sense it if I'm snoozing a little bit. So instead of messing with it, I'll go right over the other. Or if I miss that strike, instead of trying to horse a 32nd ounce jig back down with ice chips and everything, I'll just drop that rod and go right over the other.
Start working
ask
the
them
other
to
one.
come over
And it
dinner
works,
over there.
doesn't it?
It works great.
Oh man, that is just fantastic. And you're going to stand here and pay attention to your rods, aren't you? You're going to be working them.
Gotta keep that
And paying
ice on.
attention to them, you know, and I set my 2 up over there and then I start wandering around and everything. That's not the way to do it, is it?
Well, no, it's not. You want to really be attentive to them because your hits are quick, and if you know the old expression, you snooze, you lose.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And ice fishing is it's different. People think you're kind of like bait fishing out here, but you have to be a little bit more
Yeah.
attentive, and
It's a little more sophisticated than that.
very much so.
Well, I think I got it down now. If I can get my dog to come with me,
He keeps me warm.
I'm afraid my dog would, he'd never make it, Mark. He'd never make it.
Now, I talked to you a little bit earlier about the fact that our depths were from 30 feet of water with jigs through the hole about 10 foot down. And then we'd move in a little bit shallower in 12, 14 foot of water. Then our jigs would be just off the bottom. Now, here comes that snow again. I want to ask you something. Do you think catching a big salmon on a fly rod would be a challenge? Or maybe a 10-pound snook on a casting rod? It would be challenging, but try this one. A big trout, 4-pound test line, a 3-foot-long rod, and nowhere to run as we join our buddy Chip about 30 minutes into one of these adventures.
Bob it, and then you just feel weight when you go to pick it up
Yeah.
one time when you jig it. And when I hooked him, he just shook his head, thump, thump.
How far do you think he's away from you? 10 feet?
Not very far at all. He really hasn't taken a good run.
Oh, great.
He's just bulling down there.
You got patience, man.
You bet. I've had my chances up here. I keep coming back.
I mean, you fought one in here the other day for 2 hours.
That's a fact. I have witnesses.
Did he break off or did you
No,
give
sir.
up?
No, I never gave up. I was prepared for another 2 hours.
Yeah, boy, I know. Wow. Saw a lot of body there, Chip.
This is good fishing.
Oh, big old rainbow. Good night.
I
That's
need
big.
5 anyways, I bet.
Do what?
5 pounds anyways. Oh, look at that. I thought he was tired.
That's good, though. That, about one more of them's all he can stand.
Yeah, when he's belly showing.
Saw him again. Come on, miss. What do you think, Chip? Oh, goodness.
We're ready.
Goodness. I just saw it go by.
It's not going by. It's coming up the hole now. Oh, darn. No, don't do that.
It go out of it?
This fish is about played. I gotta get the head steered up the hole though.
This is a bigger fish than what you said it was.
Yes. I can't lose it.
How you gonna get it in the hole? Here she comes. Oh, man. Yeah! We got it! Oh, me. Here, Let's get him around here, Rick.
Oh my goodness, this is over 8 pounds.
Isn't that something? Show him to me here now.
What a pretty fish.
Little bitty old mouth.
Yeah, it's a female.
Mm-mm. Yep, I think she's gonna be okay to turn loose.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah, man. Just put it right back in the
You
same
bet.
hole.
You bet. Easy. Easy, big girl.
Oh, yeah.
Easy, big girl.
Oh, how
Please.
about that? Oh, man, I'm proud of you. We fought
We
it out
got her.
there, didn't we?
Whispering in voices that sound so familiar. Echoes of the mountain, reminding me of that first road of Colorado, Michael Joseph will see. Me, Michael Joseph.